Hi, I'm Jennifer Brewer. I'm going to talk about behavioral and social theories of learning, specifically leaning towards operant conditioning with B.F. Skinner. I can get where slideshow go. Here we go. Whoops. Okay, so behavioral learning theories focus on the ways pleasurable or unpleasurable consequences of behavior can change an individual's behavior over time. Basically, what can you present, whether it be pleasurable or unpleasant, to cause a behavior to shift? Social learning theories focus on the effect of thought on action and action on thought. How we think, why we do what we do, everything that goes on in your brain to cause an action. Learning is defined as change in an individual caused by an experience. Learning can be intentional. Classroom learning is obviously intentional because I myself am standing in front of a group of students intending on them learning the content I'm presenting. Unintentional learning could be, for instance, a student or a child rather, becoming fearful of needles because of the repetitive exposure to needles in a doctor's office, for instance. Those external or environmental factors, sorry, they are external, but environmental factors are the stimuli in an experiment. And the question teachers often ask is, how do we present students with the right stimuli to make sure that their focus and attention are on the skills that they need to be acquiring? B.F. Skinner posed the theory of operant conditioning, in that operant behavior operates on the environment and the apparent absence of an unconditioned stimulus. If behavior is immediately followed with a pleasurable consequence, the behavior is likely to be engaged in more frequently. He posed this theory after an experiment with his Skinner's box, where there was a rat contained in a controlled box, and the rat may have accidentally realized if he pressed this bar, there would be food to, he would receive food. Then he realized, okay, if I keep pushing this bar, I'll keep getting food. And then obviously you can alter the control there and make sure they have to push the bar multiple times to receive any food, or some occasions would present food and others would not. Rather, Skinner ended up posing this theory of operant conditioning. If the environment poses some sort of stimulus, we might act differently. So reinforcement is where this continues to lead on. Pleasurable consequences are likely to cause our behavior to repeat more, and that is called a reinforcer, where this behavior is strengthened. Pleasurable consequences strengthen. Unpleasant consequences weaken. So those are the reinforcers when they're pleasurable. Unpleasant consequences are punishers. So positive reinforcement might be praise following a behavior that you would like to see more often. Negative reinforcement, my favorite example is the seatbelt chime. It's annoying, you don't want to hear it, so you buckle up. Buckling up is positive, so it's not taking anything away. It's just presenting something that's less pleasant to produce a positive behavior. Then, of course, primary reinforcers are like basic human needs, and secondary reinforcers have to add some sort of value. The Premack principle consists of promoting behaviors by making access something desirable contingent on doing something less desirable. For instance, eat your vegetables, then you may play. My students know that if they do not finish their work during class time when they have plenty, they will stay in at recess until they finish. So they are less excited about staying inside, but they're positively, being promoted to do their homework. Intrinsic reinforcers are those that pose no reward. Extrinsic reinforcers, there has to be something else to engage them in the behavior because they don't want to do it without anything extra. The less tangible, the better. So all possible reinforcements should be tried first before resorting to punishment. And then the least elaborate reinforcer possible, the better. Punishers are those consequences that weaken behavior. The use of unpleasant consequences that presents presentation punishment. Removal punishment is the withdrawal of pleasant consequences, like a timeout or staying inside at recess to do your homework. It is important to follow a behavior immediately to increase effectiveness. If you don't follow up immediately, students are going to not even understand why they're being punished. Shaping involves guiding students toward goals by reinforcing. Extinction is removing a reinforcer until the behavior eventually stops. So these are some of the things I use in my classroom. I'm trying to quickly hurry up here. You've been caught being good. Positive feedback when things are caught in class, obviously just remind them. I even give my kids candy sometimes. They can use their tickets to buy candy Tickets come from not having any whiteboard warnings, meaning their name does not go on the board at all during the day because they were off task or doing anything that should not have been being done. And then our positive behavior implementation system that is district wide is our quarterly rewards. So every 9 weeks we have a Fun Friday. And if the students do not receive whiteboard warnings and they have the correct amount of tickets, they will be able to cash in those tickets for a Fun Friday. And if they have extra tickets, sometimes I give bonus tickets, just like the caught being good, they can use those for the candy. And these are some of the images of my personal classroom techniques. Like I mentioned, the caught being good badges, I just print those off, write their name on it, and pass them out as I see them doing something that's exceptionally good. Even more so when they're not being told. Obviously, there's candy. And then this is a picture of like my actual students. I made sure to not hold any faces in there. But we had sack races, cornhole, basketball, swinging, face painting, all kinds of fun stuff that the kids just really enjoyed. So I believe that after studying chapter 5 in our text, I feel much more competent in behavioral learning theory, especially operant conditioning, because now I'm realizing that I'm using it a lot more than I thought I was in my classroom. But I really enjoyed this chapter, and I feel like I learned a lot.